Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Gainesville meeting at the Cade Museum. Please remember to silence your cell phone. And if you're watching on YouTube, please register your participation by sending an email to info@rotarygainesville.org. And now please welcome Jeff Sims to the podium for our song and pledge.
Good afternoon. Hey, if you all would do me a slight favor before we sing, if you'll please give Maestro Gordon Hubble a round of applause. Gordon's been entertaining us for more than a decade, and we appreciate it. So let's sing My Country 'Tis of Thee, officially known as America. My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim bride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. And join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jeff. And now please welcome Ernie Hull to the podium for our invocation.
I deserve every bit of that. We were back talking, Craig Carter and I were talking about wives, and I told him, one thing about my wife, when I asked her to marry me, she said, if you really loved me, you wouldn't make me do this. Let's pray. Father, we thank you so much for the bountiful blessings that you pour out on each and every one of us. We thank you for the community in which we live. Lord, we just ask today that you would be with this club, continue to strengthen our resolve to serve those that need the help the most. Lord, bless this food that you've given to our table, and just bless each and every one of us as we go our separate ways. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ernie. You may be seated, but if you're a guest or visiting Rotarian, please remain standing to be introduced. Do we have someone to take the microphone around? Microphone? Can someone take the microphone around? Thank you, Wes.
Good afternoon. I'm Rogers Bartley, and I have as my guest today my brother from Memphis, Tennessee, David Bartley.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody. I'm excited for the first time to bring a guest to Rotary, and she has been here before. This is Lou Ann Wilson. We are friends and neighbors, and for her lifelong path as someone who adores and supports the world of Florida, she has spent much of her life with Alachua Conservation Trust and St. John's River District in conserving, protecting our land. And in that process, thousands upon thousands of acres have been put into conservation for enduring well-being, including places you know and love, Noonan's Lake, Hogtown, Payne's Prairie, all of our water systems. So what a great thing to join you today, Skiles family. Thank you.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Anderson, and I'm very pleased to have today my favorite nephew, Winter Anderson. Hadn't seen him in 25 years. He came from Tucson, Arizona, and he's also here visiting his godfather, Parker Lawrence.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Kano, and my guest today is my longtime friend Tom Snoggles, who's a business owner with SunPower Lawn Care and Twinkle Nights Holiday Lights.
Very good. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Now, for our first announcement, please welcome Brendan Shortley to the podium.
Thank you for that unsolicited applause. Your check's in the mail. So, as you saw on the way in, for the second time or third time, we're doing the Helping Hands Clinic, and it rotates every year, but we're looking for any kind of donations you can give us, and also we will not say no to checks as well. And it's not just like there's a deadline, so I'm not going anywhere, but we'd like to get it done in the next week or two if we can. I just had a story recently delivered to me by one of our former clients who was a psychiatry patient, down on his luck and homeless. And we put him back on the right path with our psychiatrist. People don't realize that we do that too, and we're the only free clinic in town that does a full spectrum of psychiatry and psychiatry meds on site. And that's really critical because it's harder for them to jump through 3 or 4 hoops just to get the care that they need. And while this guy turns out, feel good story at the end, is he's now working for a Fortune 500 company in California. So things can change, and we don't want to give people just a handout. We're trying to give them a hand up. Hopefully that appeals to you. So please give us any support you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. And today we have a craft talk, and for the introduction, please welcome Helen Gilstrom.
Well, we got lucky many years ago when Chris decided to move here from Miami. He went to Santa Fe in UF, got an English degree, which he uses all the time. When he graduated, he founded his own video production business, which he's going to give you a view of today, called Better Me Productions. Now he is a business owner and a producer. He's going to tell you more about that, but he uses that English major all the time to do video storytelling of those who have an impact on our community. He's been a member of the Green Machine chapter of BNI, and we got lucky because someone told him about us, and he came to lunch one day. So I want you to welcome Chris.
All right, well, thank you, Helen. My name is Chris Kano, and I was born and raised in Miami, Florida, and I moved to Gainesville in 2006. So I'm the owner and operator of a business called Better Me Productions, which is a video storytelling and production company. And our mission is to help businesses and nonprofits communicate the impact that they have in inspirational ways so they can grow their mission. And my personal mission is to inspire hope and connection in the world by helping people to share powerful stories about the work that they're doing to make the world better. And you might be surprised how even seemingly mundane things can include powerful stories of transformation. We often expect to find extraordinary stories only in extraordinary people and causes, but the truth is that businesses and organizations make extraordinary impacts every single day, even when it's unexpected. Whether it's a performing arts foundation, a dry event cleaning service, or a software company, all of which we've helped, nearly everyone has the opportunity to tell a powerful story to inspire others to purchase or to join them in their cause. When I was a teen, I interned at the Miami Herald, and I wrote stories about how teens experience the world. As an English major at UF, I read and I wrote stories every day, and I didn't realize where it would lead me. But today, as I experience an unfolding chapter of my own personal story, raising 2 young daughters with my wife, I realize that my story includes empowering others to communicate theirs. I appreciate any introduction to a business or a nonprofit that's struggling to reach people and needs to communicate the story of their impact. I'm just going to leave you with a few short excerpts here from some of the work we've done at Better Me Productions.
Everybody wants to own their own business so you can spend more time with your family, and a lot of times that's really not the case. But with this system now, I feel that I'm not going to miss those ball games. not going to miss the little things that mean so much in a family because this technology is amazing.
We wash over 4,000 towels every month. All of them are covered with dog hair, and maintaining that level of cleanliness and hygiene to keep dogs safe and healthy is imperative to what we do here at Scent Hound. Our dryers were not working as effectively, so with that we contacted Dryer Vent Wizard. The laundry is done much more efficiently and is done in a much faster period of time. It has certainly been a pleasure working with Dave and Dryer Vent Wizard. Maintaining our equipment has been invaluable to the success we've had here at Scent Hound.
It starts with my 16-year-old runaway mom who didn't have the tools to have a baby and take care of a baby.
I was born without a right hand. It's something that I was very used to from the very beginning of my life.
It's so important to never deny a child an opportunity to have access to any craft that they choose, because it's there for them to express themselves.
I was lucky to have a few caring people. It's all about the kids. It's all about the kids. It's all about the kids.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Chris. We're so happy that you've joined Rotary. And now, without further ado, please help me welcome our president, Linda Reinhardt.
Chris, you ran away too fast. In recognition of you doing your craft talk, I have a 4-way plaque for you. If you want to come up and get that. Okay, a couple of quick announcements before we move into our presentation. First of all, you should have gotten an email from Wes. We did have some challenges with the scanners at the May 7th and the May 14th meeting. If you have not already touched base with Marie or responded via an email, if you had lunch on either of those days, please let Marie know so that we can record it and invoice properly for your lunch. Thank you very much. Also want to let everybody know, registration is open for the international conference, which is going to be in Calgary this year. Tomorrow is the deadline for the early bird discounts. You get an additional discount if you register by tomorrow. So I just want to put that out there. But obviously, you can register at any time after that. But if you're interested in going, I know some of us are looking into it. And also, we'll be sending out an email. But if you think you want to go and are interested in doing group housing, let us know, and we'll try to coordinate all the individuals that from our club that are going, since it's fairly close this year, as opposed to Singapore, which it is now. Okay, with that, I'm going to bring up Lisa Mueller to introduce today's speaker.
Good afternoon, everybody. So today we have the pleasure of having two speakers. I walked in and saw all these signs and thought they had done this for conservation and for water just for today, but we just got lucky. So today we have Jimbo and Tessa Skiles. Now, Jimbo is a fellow Rotarian from the Downtown Club, and I'm not going to talk a lot because I want them to do all the talking today. And Tessa is a conservation program manager from Conservation Florida, and she is a cave explorer and photographer, and she is also the daughter of the late Wes Skiles. So please welcome them as they do their presentation.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Thank you for the invitation to be here, and thank you for the support that you as a club do in this community, the impact you've had on them both locally and abroad. And thank you for supporting our Wine to Water project that I'm here to talk about today. This is like the new Channel 20 news feature, What You Might Have Missed or What You Don't Know. And I'm going to briefly talk about, and I'm going to speed up my tongue as fast as it can go. And it doesn't work very well at a high speed, so just listen carefully. Wes used to say, talk slowly because I listen slowly. But anyway, I'm going to speed this up to make sure I leave enough time for Tessa. But the goal here is to tell you a little bit about the Wine to Water history, a little bit about my brother Wes, why we named this the Water Stewardship Award after him, and to tell you a little bit about where our plans for Wine to Water is going and the funds, what we're raising the funds for. So with that in mind, do I get to change the slides. So our Wine to Water plus Wes Skiles Water Stewardship Awards, we're working on shortening the name to like W2W, which stands for Wine to Water or Wine to Wes. But the original goal of the Rotary Club of downtown Gainesville was to support the Rotary Foundation. As things progressed, as Wes would often come to our club multiple times a year to tell us about the wonderful adventures he was on, the club started thinking, we should focus on the water. Wes is telling this inspirational message about how we need to be taking care of our aquifer, so let's do a water project. So a couple of the guys got together, a committee of guys, I say guys, it's guys and gals, you know that. But primarily Rob Oglesby, who used to be a Sun editor, Ray Snook, and Perry Purcell came up with this Wine to Water. Let's have a wine tasting event. We're going to turn wine into water versus the opposite biblical description. And the money we raise will recognize community leaders and others who are practicing good water stewardship. So that's how we came along. So the question is, well, here's the evolution of Wes. I'm just going to zip through this. So Wes was an earlier explorer, no fear of caves. He loved to be outdoors, and he traded in, after convincing mom and dad, his education money for that Chevy van that he could put his dive equipment in and his camping gear and go explore the springs of north central Florida. So off he went, and where he went beyond our possible dreams. He ended up, whoops, I went too fast. Went way too fast. Oh, now you're seeing, oops, I'm sorry. So he ended up with filming rattlesnakes in The Predators of the North was a National Geo feature in Australia. Whoops, how did that happen again? I'm sorry. He ended up in the Everglades as part of the Water's Journey Part 3 series, filming the Everglades, and the pythons were, of course, a part of it. He ended up filming great white sharks for Discovery Channel. He was one of the early cameramen for Shark Week that still continues. I didn't touch anything, I promise. And he didn't have any fear of mermaids, but that's one of his shots when he was exploring Weeki Wachee Springs. And if you look at the picture, not only are you getting a mirror image of the mermaid, you're also seeing the audience behind the glass walls. That gives you an idea of his photography skills. But his true and first love was exploring the caves of the Florida aquifer. And there's some of the equipment he used. And there's another, he had the first Sony high definition underwater camera. That camera was around $250,000. And, okay, so we're moving on. Wes, I told you I was going to be fast. Well, you saw a couple of the pictures. But let me read, because John Moran said this after his passing. Wes was best known for his work in educational and adventure science films and for his pioneering exploration and documentation of Florida Springs. His death came days before publication of his cover story of the Blue Holes of the Bahamas in the August issue of National Geographic. Over the past 20 years, Wes created and produced more than a dozen films for major networks, including PBS, and was a pioneer in the field of high-definition imaging, employing innovative techniques as both an underwater and topside shooter. In addition to his acclaimed Water Journey series of films, he directed the IMAX film Journey into Amazing Caves. And those were some of the pictures you just saw, if you got a chance to see them. He also led a major National Geo expedition to Antarctica to film the largest iceberg in recorded history. His primary goal was to focus public attention on the Earth's most important resource, our water, as we see around us. Wes successfully filmed where no one had been before. His unstoppable spirit of adventure led him to exotic destinations and fantastic voyages. At ease with both motion and still photography, he divided his time working on assignments for National Geographic magazine and with television's top producers of science, adventure, and natural history programming. So, did you know? Anybody recognize the person with their arm out besides Tessa that came to Gainesville? And time's up. James Cameron, director of Titanic and the Avatar series. James Cameron came here several times incognito, along with this guy. And I happened to put this picture in. Oops. Wow. That's Billy Kreutzmann, who was the drummer for the Grateful Dead. Billy came to Wes's course to learn some underwater photography because the band was getting ready to take a trip from San Francisco to the Galapagos Islands in a 160-foot sailboat, and they wanted someone to film it. And they asked Wes if he would do it. Wes took about 3 seconds to respond, yes. The incidental thing to this slide is Wes called me one day on this trip, and he goes, Jimbo, you know where I'm at? I go, no, Wes, where are you? He goes, I'm at Bill Walton's home. I go, the basketball player? And he goes, yeah. I go, what are you doing at Bill Walton's home? He goes, he's a Deadhead fan. And I don't know if you noticed, yesterday, Bill Walton, the famous basketball player, passed away. And on national news, they showed him, and they talked about how he was a Deadhead fan. Wes got to go visit him with the band and stay at the house, and it was a great story. So he came. Wes had people from all over the world coming to High Springs to teach them and tell them about diving and sharing with them the information about our aquifer. Oops, wrong way. There's some pictures of when he went to Antarctica. If we ever thought we were going to lose Wes, it was in Antarctica. That was so far out of his element, but he came back. And there's the cover of the National Geographic that came out August 2010. And it was the first 4-page fold-out in National Geographic's history. All right. So I got to end by sharing, and there's one other thing about Wes that I love that John Moran said. He knew his work made a difference when he got letters such as the one that read, "You've done for the springs what Jacques Cousteau did for the oceans." So that's why we have the Wes Skiles Water Stewardship Awards. The event at that time, we award both a nonprofit, an individual, and a for-profit business with a plaque and a $500 cash prize. The plaque has a design by Margaret Ross Tolbert, who's a famous artist here in town and has work all over. She actually has a museum display down in the Appleton Museum in Ocala, and a big event this Saturday if you're interested in seeing it. So, our candidates are nominated by the downtown club members and past winners, like Tessa Skiles is a past winner. So we have keynote speakers at the event, and they're just fabulous speakers. There's a list of some of the speakers that we've had. Probably Bill Curtis was one of the most popular known ones. He's a host on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, the NPR news quiz show, and he's a funny, good guy, but he was the voice behind a lot of Wes's documentaries. We have sponsors, and the sponsors, our flyers are Wes's photos that we illustrate who our sponsors are. And I'm pleased to say that Jay, your own member Jay Nordquist, was a sponsor this year. Thank you very much, Jay. Yay, Jay. And you can see the flyer that we use for marketing and the individual sponsors, but the actual sponsors gets a fracture-framed photo of Wes's as a thank you for their sponsorship. So if you'd like to be a sponsor, please let me know. We have winners. Our winner this past year was nonprofit winner was Save the Manatees. And again, unfortunately, we lost Jimmy Buffett this year. Jimmy Buffett, if you don't know, was one of the co-founders of Save the Manatees. So where are we going? 2 years ago, we've been looking for an international partner to do a project with the funds that we're raising. And your own Jacob Atem has a wonderful organization, South Sudan Healthcare Organization, and they have great needs. And part of their needs is water related. So we have adopted his organization. We have a global grant in process. We have a global grant number. We have some marketing materials. And our goal is, I'm going to show you how do I get the video going? Well, while they're looking for the video, there's our next speaker, my niece, Tessa. So now I'm stuck. And if we can't find it, we can skip it and we'll show it to you some other time. Okay. That's it for me. This time I'd like to bring up Tessa Skiles.
See how I do with this clicker. I'm not quite sure how the clicker is gonna behave with me, but anyhow, thank you guys so much for having me today, and thank you to my Uncle Jimbo for that wonderful introduction to Wine to Water and of my father, Wes. It's a true honor to be carrying on the legacy along with Jimbo and the rest of our family who were so inspired by my father, along with many others. And so anyhow, I'm in regards to today's presentation, we don't have too terribly much time, but I'm going to skip through this pretty quickly. But today I'm here representing Conservation Florida. Again, I'm their conservation programs manager, and we are a statewide accredited land conservancy. We work from Pensacola to the Keys, acquiring lands and creating conservation easements for landowners statewide. And I get the question a lot of how does that relate to Tessa, you love water and your legacy is water and your father and this and that. How does that relate to land conservation? And the answer is very simple. What we pave and what we save protects not just our wildlife and wild places, but also our water. And land conservation is one of the best solutions to the issues facing our springs and all of our freshwater resources today, our drinking water, our wetlands, streams, rivers, ocean, everything. So that is why I took the journey into land conservation, and I am so proud to be working and representing an organization like Conservation Florida. I do encourage everybody to look us up at conservationflorida.org to learn a little bit more or reach out to me. I will be sending out a little bit of information through Rotary if I'm able after this presentation. But anyhow, going on to the fun stuff, I wanted to play a quick little video of just how much I am my father's daughter. It kind of makes me laugh sometimes, but let's see if here we go. Can we play this video? This is my first documentary I ever made.
A spring is a special place where water comes bubbling out of the underground. All the water blowing out of this spring originally came from rain. As it flows down through sand and limestone, it enters something scientists call the aquifer. It means water stored underground in rock. The water moves underground, causing it to make caves, sinkholes, and springs like this one. All the springs used to be real pure, but now some of them are becoming polluted by human and animal waste. It's not too late to think about what we are doing to our springs and to help them. Just remember, springs are one of the most important things in your life. Please help Springs by making good decisions, not bad decisions.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much. That was a fun little project to work on with Dad. And so as you can imagine, my passion for springs conservation and water conservation started at a very young age. And it's oh gosh, it's been quite a journey that's taken me into education, but also documentary filmmaking, underwater cinematography, and photography as well. And I find that when you have this undying passion like this for protecting a natural resource or a cause that's important to you, you allow it to take you anywhere, and that's exactly what water conservation has done for me, and it's something that I will never stop fighting for, and it's something that my father, I think one of the biggest takeaways, the biggest lessons that he taught me, even as a young child, was with water conservation and springs conservation, was that what is out of sight is out of mind when it comes to creating solutions to addressing these issues. And so that is why my mission as an underwater cinematographer and photographer is to bring these beautiful places and the aquifer to the public's eye, so we can put a face to the name, so to speak, and address these issues. And the issues being that we have 1,000 people moving to Florida a day. We are experiencing a mass amount of urban sprawl, which I know that many of you have experienced and seen firsthand. And there's a couple of large solutions out there. Number one, well, actually, I wouldn't say number one, actually, but we're right now, DEP, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, is reassessing all of their basin management action plans in between now and July 1st, 2025. Their BMAPs are what they're called, and I do encourage every single one of you to keep an eye on those. They are the reassessments of those are open to the public through Zoom meetings, and I will send out a link to that. That's something to please be tracking over the next year that will majorly influence what's happening in those basins and recharge areas for our springs. Another is the Florida Wildlife Corridor. Who here, can I see a show of hands who's heard of the Florida Wildlife Corridor? Good. That's a great number. I'm glad to hear that. So at Conservation Florida, our main mission is to acquire lands and create conservation easements within the corridor. And the corridor is a highly, for those who don't know, it's a focused area within, it's 18 million acres altogether, 10 million of which has already been protected. 8 million we still have to protect. The 10 million consists of public land, state parks, so on, other conservation needs and so on, but there's still 8 million acres that need to be protected within this corridor. And I'm gonna show you, let's see. So here we go, this is what the corridor looks like, right? So there's the opportunity areas are the 8 million acres that I mentioned, and the conserved lands are the 10 million I mentioned. And Florida was the first state to create a wildlife corridor. Ever since, 12 other states have followed suit. That is amazing. The Florida Wildlife Corridor Act was signed into legislation in 2021 by DeSantis. This project was in the works for over 12 years. So it's really amazing to see this come to fruition and to be working as part of this. It's one of the best solutions that we have, is acquiring lands within this area. So that is a little update of what we're doing right now to protect our springs and our waterways. I'm probably out of time, I'm guessing. How am I doing, guys? Oh, 15? Okay. Well, let's see what else I can work in here. Thankfully, the clicker is working pretty good. So I'll run you through really quick what a conservation easement is. So essentially, at the end of the day, a conservation easement is the selling of landowners' development rights. That owner still owns the property, but they're selling the development rights forever. There is no way that that land can be developed, even if it changes ownership or the Land Conservancy that created the easement closes its doors. It then gets passed to another Land Conservancy to manage, and that landowner is responsible for keeping it undeveloped. And it's a wonderful solution to protecting our watersheds. Let's see here. So here we have a wonderful breakdown of water usage within the Florida aquifer. This graphic was created by the Florida Springs Institute. And I don't know if you guys can see up there. So the bottom is public supply. It's 1.17 billion gallons per day. And then we have agriculture at seven. Yeah, thank you. And then commercial wells, residential wells. So that's a little breakdown of where our water usage is going today. And we're really more concerned about that public supply there. That is where urban sprawl and development is going to be impacting our water resources the most. And yeah, well, you know what, I'm going to wrap up there. I flew through this, but please, I will be hanging around. Please let me know if you have any questions, and do follow us on social and connect with us at Conservation Florida on Instagram, Facebook, and online.
Thank you very much. I have two questions, actually. I came here 20 plus years ago from the Texas Gulf Coast, and similar geographic and sea level. And in that area, there was a lot of study done about the chemicals and challenges with the water as it ran downstream to the Gulf. And I wonder what groups that you might partner with to study the quality of the water and the challenges with not only the volume, but the quality of the water that is being consumed through the wells from all the segments of population.
To clarify on your question a little bit, are you asking what organizations Conservation Florida would partner with, or what organizations you can become involved with to support?
What organizations do you currently work with or partner with?
Absolutely.
And what all do you look at?
So we are looking at a collection of state agency data, as well as, we have the Florida Springs Institute is another one that we work with, where we've partnered with regional land conservancies around the state as well. In terms of water quality, there's only, you have mostly your state agencies that are collecting that information, water quality and quantity data, and we're pulling from that as needed for land assessments in terms of land conservation.
Okay, my second question is, do you see that we will have any rationing because of the mass population, even of folks moving in, and what we see even here in the Gainesville area where it's such high density, that we're not going to be able to consume the water that we have typically consumed in the past? And what discussions are going on around that?
Ooh, yeah, that's a wonderful question, and one that is very regional that I am not up to date on. So I don't want to give you any information. But rationing, that would be a how would I say this? Hopefully, very far off issue or solution to this. And then I think that these basin management action plans are going to be where you, from our water management districts and from the Department of Environmental Protection, that you're going to be seeing some of those policies come into place. So, yeah.
Hi.
Ah, there you are.
So how old is your Uncle Jimbo?
Jimbo, help me out here. He's 50.
50?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm 62 and he's older than me.
Okay.
So does your Uncle Jimbo really ride a foil board with a sail?
Yes, he does. And he owes me a lesson or two.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you guys are thinking you're too old to do things, right there.
Right. Oh, yeah. We have the adventure in the family. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it runs deep in the Skiles family.
It sure does, yeah.
So has there been any discussion of desalination to meet our water needs in the state of Florida?
Yes, there has, and in many areas, and it's unfortunate that we have gotten to that point. So, yes, yeah. Especially in our coastal areas where there's enough drawdown of the aquifer and our groundwater that salt water is making its way into the aquifer, into the Floridan aquifer and Biscayne.
Hi, Tessa.
Hi.
Amazing presentation. I loved your video. I mean, that was absolutely amazing. Your passion is unmatched, I'd say, in this room. So thank you for that. I was curious how your organization is funded.
Oh, absolutely. So we are funded through individual donations and also land protection funds through federal, state, individual donor. But most of our funding comes in the form of the funding to create those easements. So. And various family foundations and other, yeah.
We have a question from Zoom. Jenny asks, do you work with the Alachua County Alachua Conservation Trust? And Kathy wants you to tell people how to sponsor the next water event, how much money, and who to contact.
Yes, absolutely. Alachua Conservation Trust is one of our very proud partners. They are doing incredible work in this region, and we're very thankful for that partnership. And it's great to see somebody from ACT in the crowd today. So, and then in terms of sponsoring the next Wine to Water, is that the question? How you can sponsor one of our next events. Well, please, I will send out my contact information. But we can have a discussion, but we can also donate right through the website. It's very easy, conservationflorida.org, and then top right is our donate button. But I would love to get in contact to whomever asked that question. Let's please connect. I'll make sure that happens. Thank you. All right. Thank you, guys. Right.
Jimbo and Tessa, thank you guys for being here today. I do want to present you with a certificate. We will be making a donation to the Bread of the Mighty Food Bank in honor of you guys speaking here today. So. I'll also add, I had the opportunity to attend the Wine to Water event this year. It's a fantastic event, and I think it would be great if since we have a couple of minutes, Jimbo, do you want to talk about the South Sudan project that you're doing? Brendan, stop interrupting. Do you want to, we have a couple of minutes, do you want to tell them a little bit about the South Sudan project that you're working on, since we didn't get the global grant, the video?
Thank you, and that's what Brendan was trying to say. We put together a 2-minute video that talks about what we're doing with the grant, but there's three phases to the grant that we're doing. They have water supply there. They have a pump. It's what I would call a minimal pump for their 40,000 people, 40,000 refugees that are in a camp now in the area of where Jacob's medical clinic is. So there's not enough water, and we have pictures of the people with their plastic jugs waiting in line to fill up at the one pump. So the first thing we're going to do is install a larger, more powerful pump. Fortunately, their environment, they have a similar karst system, so they have water, they just don't have the means to access it. So a pump's going to be stage one of the operation. Number two, if you happen to be part of our event last year, Angela Tinbrock, who was the 2021 Agricultural Woman of the Year, has created or improved internal greenhouse farming through hydroponic farming, where water is dripped into the plant base and grow, so they'll be able to grow year-round inside greenhouses. So we're going to be stage two, building hydroponic greenhouses. Very similar. How many people have been to Disney Epcot Center and visited Listening to the Land, where you drive through on the floated boats? That concept is going to be moved to Africa. And Angela has done this in several impoverished areas, including Mississippi, where there's lack of food and water to feed our own people here. So stage two is the hydroponic greenhouses. The third stage is going to be the aquaculture, where we're going to have fish ponds that will be providing more proteins. The water from the fish ponds are used to water the plants, and it's just this beautiful recycled area, and along with some solar panels that's also on our wish list of things to do to power some of the water pumps. So those are the three stages that we plan to do over the next 3 years. As I said, the application, we have a grant number. The application, and you guys know from your Sustainable Cambodia, Richard knows how those grant applications can be really testy. And so we're probably 3/4 the way through it. And Jacob is now in Southern Sudan visiting his clinic. And so when he gets back, hopefully by midsummer, we're going to have the application completed to where we can actually send it in and start getting feedback. And what the International Committee does is you send it in and they kind of like proofread it for you and say you need to tweak this and that, and then you move forward.
Jimbo, we've prepared the link and we can play the video for you if you'd like.
Oh, awesome. Can you hold your questions? I'll answer after. There's our new logo. And that's what we hope to do in Southern Sudan.
All right, I'm glad we were able to get that working because I think it's going to be a great project for the downtown club. I'm excited to see what happens with that. So our speaker for next week, we have our Middle School Service Above Self Awards presentation. So once again, we'll be connecting with some fabulous young people that are being recognized for their service above self. Quote of the day: "The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it." And that's Robert Swan. And final piece of business is our Rotary Reading Safari lottery number, and it's 933. 933 today. Everybody have a great day.